Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the 2021 BCALA Literary Awards event. My name is Gladys Smiley Bell, and I chair the BCALA Literary Awards. The awards recognizes excellence in adult fiction and nonfiction by African American authors published in 2020, including an award for Best Poetry and a citation for outstanding contribution to publishing. Eva Ewing, the 2020 BCALA Poetry Award winner for her book entitled 1919 Poems, published by Haymarket Books, poignantly addresses the 1919 race riot in Chicago. We will now hear from Eva Ewing.
Everyone, my name is Eve Ewing, and I was fortunate enough to be the winner of the Best Poetry Award from the Black Caucus of the American Library Association in 2020 for my book 1919, and that's an honor for which I am deeply grateful. I'm here to welcome you to this incredible convening, sending you warm wishes from here in Chicago. And I also wanted to invite you to join me in a moment of silence for the victims of the Tulsa massacre who so needlessly lost their lives to white supremacist violence a century ago. Please join me. Thank you for joining me in remembrance. Ashe, wishing you a wonderful gathering.
Everywhere You Don't Belong, a novel by Gabriel Bump, published by Workman Publishing, is presented with the first Novelist Award in honor of Mr. Cecil Hickson, who founded the Black Caucus Literary Awards for adult audiences in 1994. With Dr. Alex Boyd. In Everywhere You Don't Belong, Claude isn't dangerous or brilliant. He's an average kid coping with abandonment, violence, failed love. He just wants a place where he can fit. We will now hear from Gabriel Bump.
My name is Gabriel Bump, the author of Everywhere You Don't Belong. And I just want to say thank you, Black Caucus members, for this incredible honor. And thank you for the vital work that you do in the community. Thank you, Algonquin Books, my publisher, and my second family. Annie Mazes, our library liaison and all-around amazing person. And congratulations to the other winners. I loved all of your books, and to virtually share your company is surreal. I wish we could all celebrate in person, and I'd love to party with you, maybe cry, and properly convey my gratitude for this award and libraries and librarians. I recently moved to Durham, North Carolina for work, and there's a beautiful new library downtown, which sadly, due to the pandemic, I haven't visited yet. But each time I drive past, I wish I could walk in, find a quiet place to sit and read, and try and probably fail to work on my next book. I've moved around a lot in the past few years, and I've never really felt connected to a community until I've spent a few afternoons in the local library, just getting a better sense of the people. And in high school, I would spend free periods in our library in a supposedly quiet corner with my friends, making too much noise, inviting the playful wrath of our wonderful and patient librarians who loved us as we loved them, and who guided our learning as much as our classroom teachers. Librarians like Miss Volk, who I saw again last year for the first time since my graduation over a decade ago, and who hugged me and smiled and barely hid her disbelief at me, that raucous kid who happened to love books, standing before her as a published author. And I can't believe it either, Miss Folk. And libraries, both academic and public, are possibly the last pure bastions of knowledge. And public libraries specifically are one of the few remaining truly public spaces, built for everyone, accessible to everyone, designed to help everyone. So thank you again for everything. And please keep working and fighting to uphold these beautiful spaces. So thank you.
Now we'll hear from Dana Evans, a member of the Literary Awards Committee.
The second first novelist winner is Asha Lemme for her novel 50 Words for Rain. In her debut novel, Asha Lemme gives us the riveting story about a biracial girl named Nori. She is abandoned by her mother to be sent to live with her grandparents, who disapprove of her heritage and as a result keep her locked away in their attic. It is not until her brother, Akira, comes to live with their grandparents does Nori have a glimmer of hope and salvation. Through this thought-provoking story, Lemme gives us a glimpse into Nori's life and her journey for love and happiness after receiving so much hurt, physically and mentally. Asha Lemme was born in Virginia and raised in Maryland. She currently lives in New York City and works in book publishing. Ms. Lemme is not with us tonight, so I will accept this award on her behalf. Next, we have the fiction category winner, which is The Vanishing Half, a novel by Britt Bennett. Bennett gives us a look into the eyes of twin sisters who have different ideas for the future. Twin sisters who will always be identical, but after growing up together in a small Southern Black community and running away at age 16, it's not just the shape of their daily lives that is different as adults, it's everything. In The Vanishing Half, Bennett weaves an intriguing story of their families, their communities, and their racial identities. One sister never leaves the same Southern town they grew up in and once tried to escape, while the other passes for white. Even separated by so many miles and just as many lies, the fates of the twins remain intertwined. Britt Bennett is an American writer based in Los Angeles. We will now view a video from the publisher of the work.
Bennett, and it is such an honor that The Vanishing Half has been chosen as the 2021 Fiction Award. Thank you to the Black Caucus of the American Library Association. Thank you to the committee for selecting this book. Thank you to all readers who have supported this book. And of course, thank you to all the library workers who have been so instrumental in helping get this book into the hands of readers. I'm so grateful and honored to win this award. And thank you for all of your love and enthusiasm and support for The Vanishing Half.
Now we will hear from Richie Moman.
A fiction honor book, Blacktop Wasteland by S.L. Crosby. Blacktop Wasteland embodies the thrill and danger of chasing the American dream. Bud, that's what they call him, is a black man overextended with the best intentions, risking everything he has earned thus far in order to provide more for his mother, his wife, and his child. Crosby captures the excellence of car culture and precision driving along the urgency of a father's focus for his family's survival. Blacktop Wasteland will resonate for generations of Black fathers, sons, families, making it one of the best of all times. S.L. Crosby is an award-winning author from Southern Virginia and unable to attend, but I would like to accept this award on his behalf. Thank you. And to Jadis Smiley Bell.
Hi again. The second honor book for fiction is In Hitting a Straight Lick with a Crooked Stick. This book, we are reminded of Neil Hurston's strong skills in the use of vernacular. We are gifted with treasures in the form of short stories that explores African American life, community, and culture. Although the stories take place so long ago, Hurston's writing is sharp, timely, and relevant. Her storytelling ability is evident in this newly edited volume that includes 8 of Hurston's tales that contemporary readers may have never seen before and allows readers to see Hurston's growth over time. Hurston was a novelist, a folklorist, dramatist, and a cultural anthropologist. On behalf of her estate, I accept this award. The winner in the nonfiction category is Begin Again, James Baldwin's America and Its Urgent Lessons for Our Own by Eddie S. Glaude, Jr. Crown, which is an imprint of Random House. Glaude covers the life and works of the American writer James Baldwin and racial inequality in the United States. Glaude points out historical failed opportunities for America to begin again. He analyzes Baldwin's life, ideas, and writings to comment on society's ongoing inabilities to confront the lie at the center of our American self-conception and how the nation refused to turn its back on racism and to reach for its better angels. It is at times both loving and angry, challenging and uplifting, but always beautiful. Both Baldwin and this book speak directly to today. We will now hear from the publisher and acceptance from Dr. Glaude.
And I want to thank BCALA for honoring Begin Again for this award. I'm so grateful. I barely survived writing this book. Baldwin asked so much of me. He demanded so much of me that I didn't think I was going to make it. Initially the sentences did not dance. The ideas weren't coming. It was only after I began to deal with my own trauma and my own pain that the book came together. Baldwin said to me, so I imagined at least, well, if we're going to do this, old boy, you're going to have to deal with you. And it's after I remember hearing that I had to run towards my fears. I had to deal with my wounds. And that became a lesson for me. The kind of Socratic dictum came to me that's right. The unexamined life is not worth living. That in order to say anything meaningful about the world, first you have to deal with the mess that's in you. And for Baldwin, such a lesson is not just for the individual. It is a lesson for the nation. In matters of race, we must run towards our fears, confront our sins, and tell ourselves the truth about what we've done. It's a sign of maturity, of growing up. Yes, America must grow up. I tried to offer some words to help us do that and Begin Again. And I thank you for honoring my effort. I want to thank Kevin Doughton, my editor, who was amazing. I want to thank Gail Ross, my agent. I want to thank my wonderful and brilliant wife, Winifred Brown Glaude. I want to give a special shout out to my mom and my dad, two people who basically grew up with their 4 kids on the coast of Mississippi, who deposited in me, this sense of telling the truth about what I see. Again, thank you so much for honoring this effort. As my mother would say, I'm smiling like a chess cat. Again, thank you and take care.
Okay, we'll continue with Richie Moman.
Our first honor book is by Natasha Trenaway, describes a tragic true story, Memorial Drive, a daughter's memoir. The never-ending grief she feels after her mother's tragic, horrific murder. As she grows older, she explains her mother's life and also her pain at the hands of her abusive stepfather. Could you imagine the last memory of your mother is at her murder scene? That is just what Natasha reveals in Memorial Drive. As she reiterates every moment where she shows the love her and her mother shared with each other, using her poetic powers that only Natasha can muster, she gives us images through words that we will never forget. Natasha is unable to accept this award, so again, I will accept this award on her behalf. Thank you. And two, Ms. Weber B.
Hi, everyone. It is my honor to be in this space and present to you the second nonfiction honor award-winning book, Caste: The Origins of Our Discontents by Isabel Wilkerson, published by Random House, a division of Penguin Random House. In Caste: The Origins of Our Discontents, Wilkerson identifies atrocities that have affected Black people throughout American history, comparing and contrasting the African American experience with the caste systems in both India and Nazi Germany. This volume explains the context and the development of each system and shows how caste defines and creates friction for Black and Brown Americans in the present day. It is a tough read, but it's a good one because it challenges you. As the author can't join us tonight, I want to share a few words of the book so that it can show you itself. An Old House is a kind of devotional, a dowager aunt with a story to be coaxed out of her, a mystery, a series of interlocking puzzles awaiting a solution. Why is this soffit tucked into the southeast corner of an eave? What is behind this discolored patch of brick? With an old house, the work is never done, and you don't expect it to be. America is an old house. We can never declare the work over. Wind, flood, drought, and human upheavals batter a structure that is already fighting whatever flaws were left unattended in the original foundation. When you live in an old house, you may not want to go into the basement after a storm to see what the rains have wrought. Choose not to look, however, at your own peril. Winner of the Pulitzer Prize for feature writing in 1994 as the Chicago bureau chief of the New York Times, Isabel Wilkerson is the first African-American woman to win a Pulitzer Prize in journalism. She's also the author of the critically acclaimed, award-winning, best-selling, and high-circulating title, The Warmth of Other Suns, The Epic Story of America's Great Migration. I will accept the award on her behalf. And now we go to John Page.
Hey, John, just to let you know, you're muted.
I can't hear you.
Kevin Young is the editor of African American Poetry, 250 Years of Struggle and Song, published by the Library of America. And it is the winner of the Best Poetry Award for 2021. It is a literary landmark, the biggest, most ambitious anthology of Black poetry ever published. The book gathers 250 poets from the colonial period to the present. The nearly 1,000-page collection starts with a poem from Phyllis Wheatley, the first Black writer to publish in the United States, and highlights both well-known and lesser-known Black poets over the centuries through slavery, emancipation, the Harlem and Chicago Renaissances, Jim Crow, and into the 21st century. here in this unprecedented anthology, expertly selected by poet and scholar Kevin Young. This is a precious living heritage, and it's revealed in all of its power, beauty, and multiplicity. Nikki Giovanni is included in the anthology. Kevin Young is a poet, professor, essayist, and editor. Currently, he is the Andrew W. Mellon Director of the National Museum of African American History and Culture here in Washington, D.C. Previously, he was the director of the Schomburg Center for Research in Black Culture. He has a new book coming out, Stones. It will be published in November. Now we will hear from Kevin Young.
Thanks to the Black Caucus of the American Library Association for this honor, awarding its Best Poetry Award to African American poetry, 250 Years of Struggle and Song. I edited this anthology over 7 years, and I was dependent on the resources of two libraries I had the pleasure of curating and leading during that time, Emory's Raymond Danowski Poetry Library and the Schomburg Center for Research in Black Culture. Without either of those, this wouldn't have been possible. So coming from this organization dedicated to libraries, this award means all the more. I must acknowledge the head of Library of America, Max Rudin, and all the other editors and researchers who worked on this anthology. The hardest thing was containing the entire African American poetry tradition to just 1,000 pages. The tradition is that rich and broad and deep, charting a conversation, I hope, between poets across a quarter millennium and the ways that the elements of the subtitle, struggle and song, continue to influence us today. I finished the introduction in the midst of the twin pandemics of COVID and racism on Juneteenth 2020, no less, and I'm struck now, a year later, by the ways that the poets paved our understanding of not just how to survive, but thrive, not only how to confront, but also to praise. Poets remind us, as June Jordan does, of the difficult miracle of Black poetry and life, and as Toy Durcott writes, that joy is an act of resistance. Thank you for this extra bit of joy today and for the future.
Jessica Care Moore, We Want Our Bodies Back poems, published by Amistad, an imprint of HarperCollins. In the last 20 years, Jessica Care Moore has become a cultural force as a poet, performer, publisher, activist, and critic. Her electric voice has this poetry collection framed with echoes of 4 Nina Simone songs, namely Wild is the Wind, I Put a Spell on You, I Got Life, and Black is the Color of My True Love's Hair. We Want Our Bodies Back is filled with moving, original stanzas that speak to both Black women's creative and intellectual power and expresses all kinds of emotions from pain, sadness, and anger because of their gender and race. Fierce and passionate, Jessica Care Moore argues that Black women spend their lives building a physical and emotional shelter to protect themselves. And We Want Our Bodies Back is an exploration and defiant stance against attacks. We're happy that Jessica Care Moore is here with us tonight. We will now hear from her.
Wow. So thank you, John. I just want to say there's so much I want to say. I'm honored to be here. I want to just quickly thank my mother for introducing me to the idea of a library in my home. I grew up surrounded by books. She ate books. To my daddy, thank you for always keep being my biggest angel. I cried earlier, so I wouldn't cry now. To my ancestors, to the people who have laid the foundation for me to even exist. People like Sonia Sanchez and Audre Lorde, Jane Cortez and Lucille Clifton, Ntozake Shange, and countless others. Thank you to my agent, Regina Brooks, and my editor, Patrick Bass, over at Amistad, HarperCollins, for believing in this radical Black woman's voice. I need to say to the revolutionary Black librarians and those African American librarians around the country, you are so necessary and needed. It is the library up the street from my house on Joy Road, up the street from Detroit Public School, Cody High School, where I graduated from. The safe place for me was the library. And if not for the library, I wouldn't have found Audre Lorde. I wouldn't have found Dudley Randall. I wouldn't have known that I had other mothers who were writing for me and waiting for me. And so We Want Our Bodies Back was my fifth book. It wasn't my first. I've been running a small press and pushing out other poets' voices for quite some time. Difficult for distribution as a Black press in this country. We Want Our Bodies Back I gave to a larger press because I needed Sandra Bland's voice to be bigger than out of my basement, out of my home. I needed everyone to have access to her. And she was my inspiration. The title poem is for Sandra Bland. It's for all Black girls' bodies that are violated in police custody or sometimes in the comfort of their own home. I want to thank independent, Black-owned, and revolutionary independent bookstores around the country. My book came out during the pandemic. I didn't want the book to die. Like many of my friends and close family members have passed during this incredible pandemic. I wanted my book to stay alive and not for independent bookstores and libraries calling the name We Want Our Bodies Back and saying that this book right now is important in this moment. I wouldn't be here right now. You have no idea what you mean to me. Libraries saved my life. And Black girls like me aren't always on shelves in library spaces. And so I want to be just an example to Black girls everywhere that don't necessarily have a master's degree in poetry, that you can create your life out of your imagination and you can absolutely own this thing called literature because it absolutely belongs to us. And thank you to Gwendolyn Brooks. I want to say, because I'm the first Black woman poet on HarperCollins since Gwendolyn Brooks, so it's important to call her name. And I call the name of these women and these ancestors who came before me because we can't forget them. So thank you, Gil Scott Heron and Last Poets. And please, librarians, continue to put revolutionary voices on your shelves so young girls like me can go and find me and the others that they don't share in U.S. education system curriculums. Enough or sometimes never. So I love y'all. I thank you. I'm honored. We want our bodies back. Thank you. I didn't cry.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Jessica. It's my honor to present the BCALA Literary Awards Committee wants to present the Outstanding Contribution to Publishing citation to Overground Railroad, the Green Book and the Roots of Black Travel in America by Candace Taylor, published by Abrams Press, an imprint of Abrams. The Green Book, also known as the Bible of Black Travel or the AAA Guide for Black People, was published by Victor Green between 1936 and 1967. This guide was essential for driving while Black and enabled African Americans hitting the road in the early decades of the automobile to safely reach their desired destinations. Presenting each issue in chronological order, Overground Railroad allows the reader to experience the growth of the Green Book and its content, which reflects the growth of Black businesses, neighborhoods, and entrepreneurship during essential decades of the Great Migration and the Civil Rights Movement. To do this work, the author revisits and drives to more than 4,000 sites listed in the editions of the Green Book and brings to life many of the places our elders and ancestors ate, slept, and bought gas at, with vivid Black, white, and green photography documenting these historic African American neighborhoods in the present day, some struggling, but some still thriving. Candace Taylor is an award-winning author, photographer, and cultural documentarian who lives in Harlem, and she has shared a video for you today.
So honored and thrilled to receive this BCALA award. And thank you again to the committee, and I'd also like to thank Abrams for helping me produce such a beautiful book. It was a labor of love, and I'm so proud that we were able to accomplish this. I've been working on this material since 2013, so it's been really an incredible opportunity to get this material out there, and then to be celebrated in this way by BCALA is just, again, a stunning and exciting opportunity. And also, this is perfect timing because we are publishing a young adult version of Overground Railroad, and that will come out in January of 2022. So, again, we're excited to bring this to a younger audience, and because it's so important that we tell the truth about our history, and being recognized by an institution such as BCALA really ensures that we do just that. So again, thank you. I'm honored and I'm so excited to have this prestigious award.
We will now present the winners of the 2021 Self-Publishing eBook Award sponsored by BCALA and Bibliolabs. The fiction category winner is Beyond Bourbon Street by Nikisha Elise Williams. Williams tells a story about a husband and wife, Bombay and Gray, living down in New Orleans. She eloquently reveals their struggles with life and marriage years after the devastating aftermath of Hurricane Katrina. Pregnant and battling with some familial traumas, Gray can't seem to let go of what is weighing her down and preventing her from being fulfilled. Williams is a full-time writer and a writing coach, and she currently lives in Jacksonville, Florida with her family. Nikisha Elise Williams is here with us tonight, so please help me congratulate her for this award.
Thank you, Tiffany, for the introduction, and most importantly, thank you, BCALA and Bibliolabs for awarding Beyond Bourbon Street, the story of Gray and Bombay, of New Orleans, of family, of home, as your best fiction pick for a self-published ebook. It's also available as a hardback for all of those people looking for books everywhere books are sold or loaned, with all the librarians gathered in their presence tonight. But really, I just want to say that as an indie author and publisher running my own publishing company, I have found solace in an arena where many still heap stigma and shame. And I believe that the fact that my work even exists is an act of resistance and rebellion against a publishing industry that often does not recognize the value in Black stories. That this work, which I first began in 2007 as part of my undergraduate thesis, and I released last year on the 15th anniversary of Hurricane Katrina, is being recognized now by a group and organization committed to literature and literary excellence and introducing readers to authors as librarians. I must say that I am truly grateful. Writing Beyond Bourbon Street was a labor of love as I worked to imbue humanity into people that I knew intimately. It was set, or is set, in my grandmother's now demolished Lower Ninth Ward home, which is on the cover of the book. This novel was written in honor and love for my parents, both New Orleans natives, all of my relatives who helped raise South Side of Chicago me during my summers and holidays down south. And it is dedicated to my grandparents, Robert and Rilla Mae Ryan, whom I love and miss dearly, but who continue to guide me as ancestors. Thank you, God. Thank you, BCALA, for recognizing their story, our family story. Thank you so much.
The poetry category winner is Living, Loving, Letting Go, Poems on Life by Rockman Johnson. The poems from Living, Loving, Letting Go highlight the different courses in life that one may face. The author portrays moments in his journey of self-reflection through the language of poetry. Rockman Johnson currently serves as a professor of journalism and communications at Edward Waters College in Jacksonville, Florida. He is also present with us tonight, so please help me congratulate him for the Best Poetry Award.
Thank you so much. I'm thankful, I'm humbled, and still in awe of being selected for this amazing honor. To the selection committee, the board, the attendees, library personnel from around the country, most importantly, God, I'm thankful for this. This work was born of pain. And one thing I know for sure is that pain without purpose is fruitless. And in 2019, when my mother passed away after a brief battle with ovarian cancer, The loneliness of being the only child of an only child means that the poems that I had written in the dark of night and different cover and never planned to share, they came into the world. Now, even though I won this award for the ebook, I'm so thankful that the hardcover is available everywhere. And I believe that it was a labor of love for me to make this thing happen. Why? Because since I've shared my pain and found purpose through it, others have been able to do the same. I'm so thankful for my mother, Ida Ross Johnson, for giving me the foundation of confidence to believe that regardless of the circumstances and the situation, that I could. I'm thankful for my grandmother, Hazel Williams Ross, who gave me the space to love and be loved. I will never forget that. Kenyon, my son, kid, you make me better. Arlanza Lewis II, thank you for helping me to heal through the hurt. You've been a light in a dark place, and I appreciate that. I could be here all night thanking every contributor to my life, but I believe that my presence here is celebration enough of our collective existence, and that acknowledges my gratitude to you. So for that, I thank you. Now, tonight, I stand, as many have said before me, on the shoulders of some amazing folk who have paved the way, some who are still here with us, and some who have journeyed beyond. And when I think of those names, I think of Sonia Sanchez, James Baldwin, Langston Hughes, Dudley Randall, Audre Lorde, Gwendolyn Brooks, Nikki Giovanni, and yes, Maya Angelou, who grabbed my face in the Brentwood Library in Jacksonville, Florida, and said, "Boy, you will win awards and do great things." Thank you, Auntie Maya. She said this day would come. You see, I am because they were. I come as one, but I stand as 10,000. So it's my belief that the poetry and the prose and those things that are written in this book will allow us to be bigger, to dream bolder, and to authentically be. And that word is important because that's what poetry can be. Authenticity that no one can take away. Now, Audre Lorde said in her poem, one of my favorite poems, for each of you, love as if it is forever, knowing that nothing lasts eternal. So understanding that attachment to form is useless. As we live and reflect on each and every moment of our day and every space that we do, the questions we must continue to ask ourselves are: how well did we live? How deep did we love? And when the time came, were we able to find the strength to let go? Here's to finding your grounded connection through being authentic and letting go. I love you, AJ. Love you, Ken. Thank you, everyone. Good night.
That was wonderful. The program was everything beyond what I was thinking. It was great. And I'm so excited that you were able to, if not face to face, but were able to see some of our authors give their appreciation for these awards and be introduced to their works. Publishers were asked to donate books for a raffle giveaway, and they were very generous. So we have 10 winners who will be chosen at random, and they will be notified that they have won. I wasn't able to randomly do it for today's program or tonight's program, but I will be in contact with the 10 winners and will also make an announcement on the Black Caucus listserv. So that brings our program to an end, our event to an end. And I want to thank you, everyone who attended this event. And the books will be coming as soon as I can get them to you. Okay? Thank you again for attending.